Time for another episode of Day Drinking and Tarot, and today we are doing it in true day drinking style. It is 10 a.m. and we are in Scottsdale, Arizona at a bar called Phoenix Wine. So let's talk a little transformation, have a little day drinking, and do some tarot. Come and join me. Set up at Phoenix Wine, and I chose this place today for a couple of reasons. One, they open at 10, and I just thought that was so cool, and you'll find out why it's so fitting for the card that we're talking about today. But two, I chose it because I have actually been here once before, and I came here in January on, I don't even know what to call it. It was maybe like a pseudo date. And when I walked into this place and saw all of the selection, I was just like a kid in a candy store. And so I thought, you know what? I think this, of any place that I have been to since my journey, is going to have the kind of selection that I need for our particular card. So very excited. I spoke to the owner. I believe his name is Vince, and he hooked me up with a fantastic bottle. He was not, feeling comfortable with doing the camera thing, but that was okay because I showed him the card and I told him what this was all about, and he picked us out a great glass of wine. So let's reveal what our card is going to be for today. Drum roll, please. The Devil card. Dun, dun, dun. And of course, this is one of those cards that a lot of people get very anxious about if they don't know tarot. They see the Devil card and they think, oh my God, this is witchcraft or witchery, or the sky is going to crack open and I'm going to be sucked out of the earth, or the ground is going to crack open and swallow me whole into the depths of the fiery pits of hell. But that is not exactly what this card is about. Let's talk a little bit about the Devil card because it's pretty important. It is a card that represents the shadow work that we have to do. Each of us has our own light and our own shadow within us, right? The light and the dark within us. And the shadow side helps us in many ways to incorporate not only the ego stuff, but it deals with addictions and vices. It deals with the rebel that is within us, and it also deals with obsessions. And I thought today this would be a great day to kind of talk about that keyword of obsession connected to addictions. And P.S. and FYI, we all have them. You have one too. So everybody has some kind of vice or addiction. So no one is immune to this. So don't judge yourself, but also don't judge others when we're talking about this. Vince chose for us the perfect wine. And I said to him, my requirements basically were you can choose based on the label or you can choose based on the flavor and the consistency of the wine. And he chose the most amazing bottle of wine. I can't wait to share it with you guys. Check this out. So it says, "You had me at hell no." So he chose based on label, but there's also a really cool story behind this. And I'm just going to show you. The bottle itself is called Advice from John. It is an Orin Swift bottle. And he shared with me this really cool story behind it. So Orin Swift apparently got really big making a bunch of different wines that everybody really loved. He is here originally from Phoenix, so I love that he chose a Phoenix wine as well. And he eventually got so big that he sold his label to Gallo. And Gallo put a pretty lengthy year-long non-compete. So he wasn't able to create his own wines for a while, but he persevered. We talk about obsessions. People are obsessed apparently in this area with his wines. They're obsessed with his story. And he had an obsession about creating wine and making wine. And he was like, all right, we've got the non-compete. I'll wait, the 5, 6, or 7 years, but then I'm going to make some really kick-ass wine. And that's what this came out of. Now, the really cool story about the label is that I guess Orin is a little bit different and very much the rebel, like the devil card here. And he and his assistant kind of went out and took pictures of all of the graffiti in the weird bathrooms around the area. And he looked at all of these different pictures and decided, this is I want to label like this, and I want to create a wine that is, going to sort of embody this. And he went through a bunch of labels and he found this one. So it looks to me like it is a Merlot. Yes, and it's Saint Helena. And it is a Merlot, and he mentioned that there might be a splash of Syrah in there, but there's no confirmation around that because, again, he is a rebel. He does things his own way, and he doesn't really feel like he needs to share all of that with everyone. So we are going to enjoy a glass of You Had Me at Hell No. Oh, this is delicious. So on the first sip, I'm definitely tasting some spice. I'm tasting a bit of ash in the body of the wine. There's also a little bit of sweetness, and it's a little bit of sweetness that hits kind of on the back of the palate. I taste notes of cherry, blackberry, maybe just a hint of licorice. And I feel like it's not heavy, but it's not light either. And I feel like when we are talking about the devil card, if we talk about the devil, like in terms of the rebel can be enticing. The rebel has a little bit of that sweetness to it that draws you in. And sometimes when you go, you're drawn into that, or you're drawn into that devil energy, there is some sweetness. It feels good, but then there's also I want to say like it hurts so good, but then there's also that, okay, we've crossed the threshold and now it's a little too much. So let's try our second sip. And by the way, the color is just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And it is pretty thick and pretty rich, which is kind of my favorite type of wine to have, the meal in the glass. And it smells, it smells gritty. It smells really gritty. And I think that's very appropriate for the devil. So this second sip, I feel, is a little drier. And this kind of makes sense. You're enticed at first. You're drawn in at first to that devil energy. You're like, ooh, something a little tantalizing. Sometimes we get a little bored. Sometimes we want to err on the extremes. We want to explore the darker side of life or explore those shadow aspects of ourselves. And they're enticing. And then the second sip, it's a little dirtier. So it's kind of like giving us the, okay, like you're having fun. You can continue to have fun, but where do you draw the line? Where's your line? Where's your boundary? Because not everything is sunshine and daisies, wine and roses. And I feel like that's really coming up here. And let's go for a third sip, see what obsession tastes like. Definitely a bite in the back, sweeter on the front. Definitely more of a dry flavor, a dry bite to the tongue. And the third sip kind of warms you up. I'm feeling warm in my throat, warm in my chest. Almost like, the old wives' tale, to have a little whiskey to kill a cold. And all of a sudden it just warms the chest up and feels really good. So I want to say obsession, and maybe that's why it's called obsession and why we can get so roped into that or addicted to that obsession cycle. it tastes so good. It hurts so good. Now that we have had a taste of that devil energy, I wanted to talk a little bit about the meaning of this card and how it relates to my personal transformation journey and how it can relate to the transformations that we are all going on and that have going on in our lives and are going through in our day-to-day. And while I could talk about a lot of different things, I'm focusing today on shadow work and how that relates to obsession and addiction. So I guess I'm kind of like lumping it all into one. And I want to say to you that I have such a passion, as you guys know, for wine. That's how this whole series was born, was how do I bring, two of my obsessions, wine and tarot, together into, one harmonious blend and experience. I am not a person who struggles with alcohol addiction. I have at times had difficult challenges in life where I've noticed, okay, I'm drinking a little more than I should be, and I have the ability to recognize that and to say no. So I can put the wine away and not have another drop of wine in my life if that meant saving my life, if that meant, recognizing that it was causing me to not be my best self. That does not happen to be one of my addictions. However, I come from a family where that is an issue. And as a result of coming from, an alcoholic home, I have attracted in the past many alcoholic partners. And that has been its own, I want to say, journey into obsession, because you can get caught up in their drama, their obsession, their addiction. And I say their addiction is the alcohol or the drugs. And my addiction is to enabling, trying to fix and heal. And that has been I want to say I'm an enabler in recovery. And that has been my challenge. And I have gone through this journey for a number of years, right? I always like to say I am forever 30. And that forever 30 in me, I've lived a lot of years in that forever 30, and I've had a lot of experiences with people who represent this devil energy. And again, we all have this within us. So let me just quantify that. We all run into this within ourselves, that shadow side of ourselves that needs to be expressed and addressed and acknowledged. And if it isn't, it comes out to the surface. And I have experienced that with a number of people in my life, specifically romantic partnerships, but also other people in my life. And it took me under many, many years ago. It took me under. It was a really deep, dark path that I went down because I was addicted to helping them. I was addicted to their story. I was addicted to enabling. I was addicted to trying to find my worth in being able to heal another person. If you think about it, it's very egoistic, right? When you think, well, my love can fix this person. My love will be enough to stop this person, even though this person has been doing this for years, or they've had this addiction, many years prior to me coming on the scene. It's, well, maybe mine will be different. Maybe mine will be enough. My love will absolutely be enough. Let me tell you, it's not enough. And take it from someone who's been around that freaking merry-go-round 17,000 times. It's an obsession. And you get to a point where you start to get as, I want to say, like crazy in the thinking. I'm not saying that people with addictions are crazy. I'm saying the thinking process that comes out of addictive behavior is crazy making. It makes no sense. It's sporadic, erratic. It's devastating. I want to say it's self-sabotaging. And that's a really big component of this card as well, is that self-sabotage. And I had a pretty dark relationship many, many years ago with an addict, a person that was suffering from addiction, who I believe right now has, cleaned up and whatnot. It has been clean for a long time as far as I know. But it was pretty dark. It was drugs, it was alcohol, it was sex, it was guns, it was all the things and stuff. And, you know, this person was really struggling on the inside. There was a lot of wounding there, and I was drawn to the wound. That was part of my empath in there as well. But it was also kind of a predetermined pattern that I had developed from my home life and growing up. And I do have permission to share this. My father is a recovering alcoholic. He gives me permission to kind of break his anonymity to share that. And my mother, I would say, was even more obsessed in that dynamic than he was with his addiction, because she was obsessed with him. And so I grew up watching all of that. And then, of course, I repeated that in my love life, in my personal life, and became very addicted to relationships. And when it started to implode within me, when I started to lose my identity, lose who I was, and started to not want to be on this planet and not want to live life, I knew something's wrong here. Something's got to give. This is not who I am. This is not what I came here to do. I love life, and I feel a strong sense of purpose, and I'm a mission-driven individual. So I need some help here. And I got some help, and I started my healing journey. And through that particular healing journey, I did a lot of shadow work. I had to do a lot of looking at myself and recognizing where my obsessions get into the mix and where I can self-sabotage. And I self-sabotaged in a lot of ways with enabling. Fast forward to today. It's been on this fabulous journey being here in Phoenix, and PS and FYI, it's been almost a year now. I'm about to celebrate a year in a couple of weeks of having landed officially in Phoenix, Arizona. And I can tell you, I am so freaking happy to be here. I love it here. It's exactly where I need to be. The honeymoon period is over. I've lived through a Phoenix summer, and I am all in, and I am here to stay. So I just want to put that out there. It's my own private heaven. Ironic that we're talking about the devil. But on this journey, wherever you go, there you are. I have realized in meeting new people, in connecting, and going around to different wine bars, there is alcohol involved. And while I can handle my alcohol, not everyone that I meet in these places is able to do that. And I've noticed that perhaps it's a little vulnerability in being in a new place. Perhaps it's, I want to say, a new version of myself that I'm experiencing, expanding, and exploring into. That I'm stretching my boundaries, that I'm attracting people into my life that are needing help, that I'm attracted to people's wounds again. It's crept in. And I'll say to you, I have done a fuck ton of therapy in my life, but I have not been in therapy for a little while. It's been a couple of years. And I would say in that couple of years, I've had some really horrific, traumatic experiences occur. So maybe it's time for me to have a little therapy, a little checkup from the neck up, to come back into that shadow work, because I'm noticing, and there is a friend that I have met recently, and they are exhibiting all of the signs of an individual that I want to say suffers from this addictive personality energy, and their addiction is alcohol. And I'm noticing that it's bringing up within me all sorts of triggers. And I'm noticing, this doesn't feel good to me. It's bringing up my shadow. And, I have some choices to make. Do I recognize that this is not, I've been here before, and I don't want to repeat this pattern and cycle. I don't want to be in a situation where I feel like I have to help you, fix you, heal you, enable you. Can I handle that? Can I be in connection with you and still be able to hold my boundaries, hold my ground, and to really observe you with love and compassion only? and leave all the rest behind and not use my past experiences to project that onto you, even though I'm seeing similar characteristics, to see you as an individual, as a whole person, as a separate person from any other experience that I've had? Or do I need to walk away, to cut the chains from this experience? Very much that when we're talking about the obsession, I know that I have a lot of obsessions in my life. I have obsessions with throw pillows and fuzzy blankets. I have an obsession with wine. I'm a single person and I have my own little wine cellar. It's a collection. I'm a collector. But I could also say to you, sometimes, if left unchecked, if I'm stressed about something, if I am not dealing with my shadow, if I am trying to defer and deflect or distract myself from difficult things that are going on in my life, I'm buying extra throw pillows, or I'm buying more wine that I don't really need, or I'm getting focused. I do a lot of crafting and artistic things. I can throw myself into that and get completely lost in it for months. And then the obsession is over and I'm on to something else. I feel like the devil is a call for us to really pay attention to the shadow work and to say, it's a part of us. We don't have to cut it out. We don't have to get rid of it, to kill it. Just like the ego, we don't need to kill the ego. The ego is here. It's a part of us. It's a necessary part of us. It just needs to come into balance. Shadow work is the same way. Not a single soul is perfect. Not a single soul on this planet. I like to say, like, all of our shit stinks. We all are human. We all have to do the same shit, right? So it's a process of learning. It's a process of going through the experience so that you can understand that there's contrast to that experience. And whether you've had a good experience and the contrast is, I don't want to do anything other than this again because I've had bad experiences and now I understand why everybody loves this, or vice versa. I've had great experiences, now I'm doing this opposite thing and I'm like, oh, this does not feel good at all. I don't want to keep doing this. So I feel like the devil, when it shows up in your reading or just in your life in general, it is a call to get real with the darker parts of yourself. And the trick is, society always tells us, and I feel like, especially here in North America, we were born out of Pilgrim era, right? So very puritanical, very restrictive, you're not allowed to have desires of any kind, and you must live your life in this tiny little box. We're having to break out of that because humanity isn't pure. You might get the occasional person on the planet who is, I want to say, purer than most. And I'm not judging their choices or how they do it. We can all learn from that. But I don't really believe that is the purpose of us being, thrown here on this planet in these human bodies. We weren't given a world of all of this wonder in order for us to just be tempted by everything but not allowed to imbibe. It just doesn't make sense. But because that is built into our DNA, that is a pattern that we, I want to say, as a society, as humans, are working to work through, to break through. And the devil is helping us with that because the shadow is in all of us. And the shadow is there to help give you some contrast. I've done this thing in this way and I've done it in this way. Maybe there is some fun. Maybe there is some good in doing something that is seemingly bad. But how far can I take that before suddenly now I'm out of balance and it's no longer good, right? What's that saying? All good things come to an end. We live in a world of duality. Not everything, there's no permanency. Not everything is supposed to last for a long time. The devil entices you because the devil is inviting you to explore different aspects of yourself, to go into the shadow and be able to bring the shadow to the light so that you can explore it, you can have some fun with it, dance with it, and then figure out where it fits into your life. And you always have choice. You always have the power to say, yes, I'm going to do this, or no, I'm not. And I'm not knocking the fact that if you do have a true, addiction to something, mine is to food, as well as enabling, right? I'm a recovering enabler. And I would say to you, I am on and off the wagon when it comes to food and portion control and doing the things that I need to do. I'm not saying that our addictions are easy to overcome. I'm saying we always have choice. We always have choice. I'm aware that I'm feeling off, or I'm feeling triggered, or I'm feeling overwhelmed. And what's the first thing that I'm wanting to do with that? I'm wanting to go to the fridge to eat. I'm wanting to go to the nearest bar to be able to drink my cares away. I'm wanting to, go to the casino or buy the lottery tickets. What does all of that mean? It means that we're distracting ourselves from the core of something. And that something is, we're feeling hurt, we're feeling wounded, we're feeling fearful, we're feeling disempowered. So when you have that knowledge and awareness, when you have that aha moment, now you've got choice. You can always make a different choice. So I ask you, where in your life are you succumbing to this concept or this idea that you are powerless to overcome any addiction that you're afflicted with? Because you're not. And I'm not saying it's easy. It's not an easy path. But all it takes is one choice in this moment right now. Not thinking about the past, not thinking about all the things and the stuff, not thinking about the future. This is something that I have struggled with as well, especially with the eating, is like, okay, I'm here and I want to lose like 40 pounds. And I'm focused on the 40 pounds and I can't cope with the one step right now because I'm like, oh my God, that 40 pounds is, so far away and I'm never going to get there. So then I self-sabotage in the moment right now because I'm like, well, I'm never going to get there anyway. So I'm just going, no. Don't think about that. Think about what choice can I make right now as I'm standing. For me, it's I'm standing in the pantry with the door open, looking at everything. And I'm having to ask myself because, wait a second, I'm not really hungry. I'm looking at everything and there's nothing here that I really want to eat. So am I bored? Am I tired? Am I angry? Am I sad? Am I overwhelmed? What's going on? And you can apply that to any addiction. I also want to just say to you, where in your life do you feel disassociated from the body? Because that disassociation can often create that, I want to say, that frenetic energy of, oh my God, I need to get this thing. We think kind of like a drug addict where they need their fix, they need their hit. Vices are like that. Obsessions are like that. So where in your life are you noticing, or where can you open your eyes to notice where there's some frenetic energy, there's panic, there's, I've got to get this thing. It might even be to work. I got to get this thing done. I can't let loose and live my life in another way. I've got to get this thing done. Because that is a big indicator of something that you're trying to distract yourself from. And typically we're trying to distract ourselves from the pain of our own disappointment, disillusionment, failure, perceived failure, and lack of worthiness, lack of desires, lack of value. Pay attention to where those things are coming up in your life, because this is going to help you to work through your devil card energy. It is our energy temperature check. Where are we at energetically in the collective? Are we mild, medium, hot, or extra spicy? It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes.
I want my temperature check.
Shallow, Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and it's getting hot in here. Let's do an energy temperature check to see whether we are mild, medium, hot, or extra spicy. And in this particular segment, what I'm really wanting to hone in on and focus in on is the actual energy of our now and our present moment. And I am feeling that we are in extra spicy. And I feel like we've been in extra spicy for a little while now. And so that means that we're starting to get a little crispy. I'm seeing, me frying up meatballs in the frying pan. And it's kind of like, it's really time to take these meatballs out because they're starting to get a little bit, brown, almost brown to black, right? So we're kind of making them a little extra crispified. And so if you can relate to this analogy, if you're the one who's feeling like, okay, stop the world, I want to get off, take me out of the frying pan here. I need a little break. I need a rest. I need to stop cooking for a while. You are not alone. And I'm feeling like this is the energy that we're going to be in. I want to say I'm seeing the number 7. I feel like we're going to be in that for the next 7 days from the time that you watch this video. And so it's going to be really important for you on an individual level to make sure that you are practicing a lot of self-care. But it's not the kind of self-care, I want to say, that gives you the peaceful, floaty spa type feeling. I feel like this is the kind of self-care where you're going to a smash room and you are breaking shit because you need to expel the rage, the fear, the sadness, the angst, because that is what this energy is about. It's grating on our nerves. And for those of you watching this, I feel like most of us have been kind of in that state for a few days now. It's like, I like to call it, it's like the fear and dread under the surface. You can't really put your finger on it, on why you're feeling what you're feeling. You just know that like you're irritated or you're angry about shit, but you don't know exactly what you're angry about. So if you can relate, and if this is you, the self-care that is really coming to mind for you guys right now is movement, physical expression, even dancing it out. It's the physical movement of the body that's going to shake up that energy and expel it from the body. And I feel like this is really important, guys. We need to expel this shit from our bodies, especially because we're going to be in this for another 7 days. If you're already feeling crispy, it's only going to get worse, not better. So this is, I want to say, refueling the tank, but doing it a little bit different. Not in that calm harnessing, oh la la la, listening to the music. That's not going to do shit for you. It's not going to work at all. For those of you who are really craving that peace, that quiet, what I'm seeing for you guys is creating a little ritual for yourselves where you're doing something that can expel some of that heightened energy. I'm seeing, listening to music, listening to maybe some like heavy metal music or going into the grunge phase a little bit. Listen to 1 or 2 songs, get it all stirred up, and then go out in nature and sit and do something soft and fuzzy and cuddly, because you're stirring it up to the point where you're bringing it to the surface. And then you can go and harness your chi and get the peace. So this is not a time to sit around and think that rest and peaceful places are going to be all that you need to kind of sink your teeth into it. That's not what this is about. I feel like it's an expression, a physical expression of getting that energy out there. Also, for those of you who are in the situation of looking for work right now, here's just a little word of caution. I feel like there are a lot of people right now in the workforce that are feeling a lot of this internalized rage, anger, fear. And what's happening is because you are a new person coming in, they don't have a previous connection to you. So it's easy to project onto somebody that you don't know some of your own, unprocessed shit.
So for those of you who are seeking out jobs and maybe you have an interview and it doesn't go very well, obviously, do your due diligence. If you really screwed up the answers or you weren't really prepared, then okay, then own that. That's on you. But what I'm really feeling here is don't beat yourself up if you went in and you did the best that you could and you were feeling some frosty tones. I feel like in that regard, it's not about you. You're dealing with individuals who are going into a scarcity space. And they're in that scarcity space where they're like, okay, I hate this work that I'm doing, or I hate what it is that I'm having to do right now, but I have to do it in order to keep my job. So you're running into people who are suppressing their rage, suppressing their fear in order to survive. And I encourage all of you watching this today to shift out of survival mode and go into thrival mode. What does that mean exactly when we're talking about the extra spicy? It means expressing and expelling that rage in a safe, harmless way, and then going out and being you and doing you and bringing your light and living your truth. That's going to serve you much more than being a bit unconscious about it or taking other people's behavior personal, especially in the workforce, especially for those of you who are seeking new work. Just be prepared. Not everyone's going to explode in your face, but you are going to have a consistent experience where you're running into people, places, and things like that. So that is our energy temperature check for this week. I want to leave you all with this thought. There's this concept in the spiritual community that anger and rage is not acceptable. And I'm going to say to you guys right now, I am, 99.999% love and light. And I am definitely that 0.1% fuck you. And it's important that we be honest with ourselves about the fact that we do have the light and the shadow, that anger and rage can be a motivator. It can align us. It's like anything else. It's a sign. It's a roadmap or a detour. It's a, hey, there's a pit here. Go around, drive around the hole in the road, because otherwise you're going to drive into the hole and you're going to get stuck and you're going to damage your car. And it's going to be a big pain in the ass to get out of it. So if you are resonating with what I'm saying here and you are feeling that rage or that sadness or the fear or just a lot of anger, don't beat yourself up over it. Don't try to talk yourself out of it. Understand that, okay, there is this coming up for me because it's now an opportunity for me to align. If I'm feeling anger towards something or rage towards something, then it gives me a focus. What can I do? Yeah, we can talk about the collective all day long, but it's about you and how you can help yourself. Let's check out the tarot box. Let's see what we got. And it's my card today. Do not ignore that little voice that is inside of you. And we're not talking about the ego voice. We are talking about that divine inspiration, that intuition, that soft, gentle whisper. So the Ace of Cups. Ace of Cups is all about that fulfillment. You have to bring more joy into your life. All right, let's see. Oh my God. It just flew out there. Wow. Shalom all, Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and I'm so excited about this Unlocking Tarot segment. And I got a new deck this week, and I'm so in love with it. And it is called the Chromatic Fates Tarot. And I thought, you know what? I'm just itching for a reason to be able to use this as much as possible. So for today's Unlocking Tarot, I thought I would just randomly shuffle. I don't have a particular card in mind to talk about. So we're just going to randomly pull one, and I'm going to just sort of tell you a little bit about it and see what we got going on. Ooh, so we've got the Queen of Cups today, and check out this card. I just love this card. I love all the colors, and the colors are so fun. Okay, so Queen energy. Queen is the divine feminine representation of energy. And PS and FYI, we all have divine feminine and masculine within us. It's not a gender specific experience. It is about energy. And queens in the tarot really represent that structure, organization, delegation. When we think about a queen, it's sovereignty. It's the queen decrees something. The queen makes a decision, and then she puts order to it. She delegates. You do this, you do that, you do the other thing, come back and report to me on that, because I've decreed that this is the way things are going to happen. This is how we are moving forward. Queen of Cups energy. Cups is the realm of our ocean of emotion. It is our spidey senses, that psychic ability. It is how we feel about things. It's also, it's connected to the sacral chakra, so it is also very creative. And the Queen of Cups energy also in the tarot, usually when we talk pentacles, it's about health and wealth. But with the Queen of Cups as well, there is an energy of health involved in that from a mental health perspective. If we are allowing ourselves to be swayed by our emotions, if we are living strictly out of our emotional space and our feelings, we are not particularly grounded, and that can create a lot of mental dis-ease, mental dysregulation that goes on. So when we're talking about this Queen of Cups energy, and in this depiction, it's great. She is the queen of her domain. She's comfortable in how she feels about things. She's confident. She's not anxious. She's not worried about what is going to happen or transpire. She also feels really confident in, I feel these things, but I am not beholden to my feelings. I use my feelings as tools to navigate how I want to present myself, how I want to direct my choices, the experiences that I wish to have. And in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot, you often see the queen sitting on a shell throne and the ocean is behind her. I feel like in this depiction, the ocean is being reflected in her dress, in her gown. We've got the blue, that she's wearing the blue. She is the ocean. She is her emotions. She doesn't need to be swayed by her emotions. She has incorporated and ingrained them. So when you pull a Queen of Cups in a spread that you're doing, you want to really understand that this depiction is indicating that there's a concern or there is an answer in the realm of your emotional space. It also causes you to question, what psychic guidance am I receiving that I'm not paying attention to? What psychic guidance could be beneficial to me, and maybe I need to set aside some time to meditate on that, to be intentional about asking my guides to step in and help me with this information, because I am a sovereign being. I have the right to my feelings and emotions and my choices and my experiences, but I also play a part in what that looks like. When you pull a Queen of Cups in a spread, and I don't read reversals because I read cards intuitively. But for those of you who read the reversals, this would be someone who expresses a lot of insecurity, someone who might be a little on the needier side, someone who doesn't trust their intuition fully, who doesn't trust in what it is that they're receiving, and may even have a lot of fear around that psychic information that is coming to them. And when we are in that fearful space and place, the decisions that we make might not be so sovereignly. They might not suit our purpose. There might be some people pleasing going on, that you're trying to make decisions to please other people rather than going with what pleases you, which in turn is going to please others because your love cup is full and overflowing. So you want to consider that whenever this particular card comes up. Also, from an intuitive perspective, looking at this particular card, first of all, like I said, she's wearing the ocean on her. So when we talk about the ocean, it's the ocean of emotion. It's cleansing, purifying is water. It's a conduit for sound, for communication. It's also connected to the throat chakra, finding your truth, speaking your truth, learning to communicate that in a creative way. And so she's wearing it on her body, which means she's embodying the ability to communicate, to both express her thoughts and feelings, but also to receive others' thoughts and feelings and to be able to process that in a way that is serving her, that is eventually going to serve those that she loves and those that she serves. And the background of this card is the pink, and the pink is one half of the heart chakra. It's the self-love, the self-care, unconditional love, self-compassion, and self-forgiveness. And she's holding the cup, right? She's holding the grail, and she's saying, yep, it's important for me to always have my love cup full and overflowing, because part of my service and part of my journey is to help others in that capacity. And if I don't have my needs met, if I don't have the level of energy that I require to be of service to so many other people, then I'm depleted and then I'm good to no one. And the Queen of Cups can literally get that way, where it's all in or all out. And that's not really, I want to say, the best way to approach life. We don't necessarily need to be all in or all out at all times. Sometimes life is going to hand us the opportunities to live in the gray, whether we want to or not. Sometimes that's the goal, is to figure out, how can I make this work for me? You know, I need to alchemize what's being given to me. And Queen of Cups energy, she's an alchemizer. She uses the water. She uses that conduit energy to alchemize, to bring together different resources and make them into something that is usable for her on any given day, any given topic. So confidence, I feel, is the key, but it's confidence in yourself, in knowing that I have the right to breathe the air that I breathe. I have the right to take up the space that I take. I have a right to my feelings and emotions. And I also have the right to reflect upon them and use them to my advantage, or to recognize when they're going to hinder me if I make decisions from that space. So Queen of Cups brings a lot of balance to a situation. Or again, if it's red reversed, it's the opposite of all of those things. Someone who isn't comfortable in their own skin and doesn't always feel those things. So that is our Unlocking Tarot for this segment. I hope you got a lot out of this. I just love tarot, and I love these tarot cards. And you know what? I have a segment called Divinely Decked, and I'm going to do a review of this particular card deck just because I love it so much. So if you're a tarot enthusiast like me, and you just can't get enough of these cards, stay tuned for that, because we're going to come up with an unveiling and a review of this deck. All right, guys, can't wait to see you for the next segment, and transform well. All right, let's see. Oh my God. It just flew out there.